Good evening. Welcome to the in-person and virtual meeting of the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting of June the 10th, 2025. There are two meetings tonight, one being the Committee of Adjustment and the second being the Advisory Committee. There'll be 4 minor variance applications for consideration by the Committee of Adjustment, and there will be 4 consents for the Advisory Committee to provide comments on. So let's get into the Committee of Adjustment. And we'll start with the roll call. Paul Sedra, present. Kim McCarthy.
Here.
Chris Picard.
Present.
And I, Councilor Johnson Poulos, I'm present as well. Please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to the municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means or consent, you have the likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. And I'd like to also point out to my right is Secretary Treasurer Lynn Banks, and to her right is our junior planner, Miko Sapiwala. So let's go into the moment of reflection. Thank you. Lynn, would you go with the confirmation agenda, please?
That the committee approves the June 10th, 2025 agenda is circulated, and that the committee approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Consent item 6.2, questions received from committee members seeking additional information and the corresponding responses provided by staff regarding the June 10th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment agenda.
Okay, good. We have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Kim, seconded by Paul, all in favor? Thank you. So disclosure of peculiar interest. Do we have any disclosure of peculiar interest? None? Great, thank you. Then would you read the consent agenda, please?
That the Committee of Adjustment approves the minutes from the meeting held on May 13th, 2025.
Okay, do you have any comments of the agenda? Sorry, on that meeting minutes? No? Okay, moved by Paul, seconded by Chris, all in favor? Thank you. So we'll start with the hearing part of the meeting right now. And the purpose of the hearings is to inform or provide the public with the opportunity to ask questions or to express views with respect to a minor variance application before us today. The township requests you please notify the secretary of the committee by email at lbanks@postal.ca if you wish to be on record and would like to be notified of future hearings and decisions regarding a specific application. The format of each hearing will be as follows. I'll read the application to be heard and ask staff to display the relevant information. Staff will then present the information report, specifically outline the purpose of the application, summarizing compliance with the township's notification and submission requirements, and outlining staff comments. The applicant will present the purpose and details of the application and any further relevant information. Following this, the public can obtain clarification, ask questions, or express their views on the proposal. You'll have a maximum of 10 minutes to speak. Following this, the members of the committee can likewise obtain clarification and ask questions. And if a member wishes to add a condition, I will ask for a vote on the condition. The committee will then deliberate the application with any approved conditions and render a decision. This will be subject to the 20-day appeal period. So now we'll start with first one, 7.1 D13 BRE 603 Arco Road retained, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 11.4 table 11.3 to allow reduced frontage of 20.4 meters for a reduced agricultural lot instead of 25 meters as requested, and requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 20-2018 as amended from section 11.4 table 11.3 to allow reduced lot area 0.36 hectares for reduced agricultural lot instead of 0.4 hectares as required. So, Lynn, would you please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, public, and comments and recommendations?
Certainly. Notice of the application is given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met and the following comments were received. The township's public works, fire department, and bylaw departments and the GRCA all had no comments. Source Water noted that since this property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat, the application can be screened out, does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. They did note that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to this property, given the vulnerable areas. County planning staff said that the subject lands are designated as residential in the county official plan, and planning staff note that the proposed variance is to satisfy condition of severance B 97-24 that was conditionally approved at the December 2024 Land Division Committee meeting. Planning staff have no objections to the related consent, and planning staff have no objection to the proposed minor variance application. And then the building department said that there are no concerns from a building code perspective for the proposed variances, but please note that a detailed grading plan will be required for the severed or retained parcel at the time of the building permit applications. We did receive one public comment, and it reads to who it may concern the aerial for 603 Arkell Road severed parcel. I think that's the whole parcel. The aerial view indicates a lot that appears to be in the shape of a T. The application appears not to indicate what the new lot alignment will look like. Unfortunately, the aerial view photograph does not clearly identify where the residence is on the property. Barring the location of said residence, it would make sense to create two new parcels, one with access off Arkell Road and one with access off Watson Road to keep with congruity of the neighborhood. If it is split down the middle of the lot width on Watson Road, this maintains access for the north lot off both Watson and Arkell Road. Although the larger parcel already has this accessibility, the variance document would enshrine what was once an oddball parcel, and wanted to know, will this precedent now allow lots in Puslinch with borders on two roads to have two access points?
Great, thank you. All right, so we have the applicant or agent, please come forward and present your application.
Thank you, committee. I'm Jeff Buseman from Van Harpen Surveying, and I'm here on behalf of the property owner. This, as mentioned in the information ahead of this, that this property went to Land Division Committee, was approved for severance. You can see that we're proposing the severance to be this parcel here, and the retained parcel to be this one here. The first, the minor variances are needed for both properties. And the first application, we believe, is for this one, right? Is this one here. So I'll talk about that one. The minor variance request is 0.36 of a hectare instead of 0.4. And also that the frontage be 20.4 meters instead of 25 is listed over here. As you can see, the property gets wider and the existing house is there already. It's not like we need more room for the existing house. 0.36 is very close to the minimum requirement 0.4. Planning staff have supported this. I should say that even before starting this whole process, we did more of a deeper evaluation with the township staff, in particular, looking and seeking for their comments. When we got their comments were good and said, you know, maybe you should review the locations of the wells and septics in the area and see if you can make it work for a septic beds for both parcels. And that was done, and a report was prepared. I'm assuming the township received it, but we prepared this already at the stage of the severance. And we submitted to the township staff, and they were satisfied with it at that time. The biggest thing is we want to make sure it's going to work for the septics and the wells for all the properties in the area. So those are the two minor variances. Mr. Chair, do you want me to talk about the other one, or you want to wait?
No, we'll wait till the deal with the other one.
Sure, okay. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I mean, it's great, in my mind, it's a great configuration. It was an odd T-shaped lot. Now we're just kind of, you know, making it practical and having a nice infill situation.
Okay, Miguel, are there any registrants who request to speak? Mike?
Anybody online who wishes to speak to the matter, they can use raise hand function located on bottom of the screen. It seems like we have none.
Okay, Lynn, are there any registrants from your point of view who asked to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there are not.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this item? No? Okay. All right, so let's go to the committee members around the table. Start with you, Paul.
No comments on this one, thank you.
Okay, Jim?
No comments.
No comments, thank you.
And I don't have any comments either, so let's go through the process of reading the actual application. The matter of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, the new comprehensive zoning bylaw 2023-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit the following: a reduced lot frontage of 20.4 meters for a reduced agricultural lot instead of 25 meters as required, a reduced lot area of 0.36 hectares for a reduced agricultural lot instead of 0.4 hectares as required. So we either approve, oppose, or defer. Start with you, Paul.
Approve.
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 I approve as well. Okay, thank you. So this is subject to a 20-day appeal period.
Thank you, Mary, resolution.
Yes. Okay, we'll go out of the meeting to read the resolution and then we'll go back in for the next one.
That report D 13-2025-10 entitled minor variance application D 13 BRE routine parcel be received. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 11.4 table 11.3 of the Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2018-023 as amended, requesting permission for a reduction in the minimum lot frontage of 20.4 meters instead of the required minimum lot frontage of 25 meters. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 11.4 table 11.3 of the zoning bylaw, requesting permission for reduction in the minimum lot area of 0.3 hectares instead of the required minimum lot frontage of 0.4 hectares. And whereas this application is required as a condition of consent application B 97-24 that was approved in December 2024 at the Land Division Committee meeting, the consent application would sever a 0.19 hectare parcel of land with an existing garage for rural residential use within the residential area, resulting in a frontage of the retained parcel being 20.4 meters and lot area being 0.36 hectares. And whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. Therefore, the committee approves the application with no conditions.
Okay, mover, Chris, seconder, Tim, all in favor? Two. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, 7.2, D 13 BRE 603 Arco Road severed. Requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 11.4 table 11.3 to allow reduced lot frontage of 0.19 hectares for reduced agricultural lot instead of 0.4 hectares as required. Elaine, would you please summarize the application, notifications, submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, public comments, and recommendations?
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met and the following comments were received. The Township's Public Works, Fire Department, Bylaw, and the GRCA departments all had no comments. Building stated there are no concerns from a building code perspective for the proposed variances. Please note that a detailed grading plan will be required for the severed or retained parcel at the time of building permit applications. And SourceWater said, since this property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat, the application being screened out does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. But note that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to this property given the vulnerable areas. County planning staff stated that the subject lands are designated as residential in the county official plan. Planning staff note that the proposed variance is to satisfy a condition of severance B 97-24 that was conditionally approved at the December 2024 Land Division Committee meeting. Planning staff had no objections to the related consent, and planning staff have no objection to the proposed minor variance application.
Okay, so the applicant, please make the presentation.
Thank you. Same property, sort of a similar story, except the request is that it's 0.19 of a hectare and 0.2. You'll note that it made sense to have a road widening. There was a road widening of 3 meters taken in front of this property. So it made sense to do the same on this one as well. And that was a condition of the severance. And that part explains why this is, forces it to be a little bit smaller yet. So the proposed size is 0.19 of a hectare. We have found that we can provide the appropriate services, namely a septic and well for this property. And we've showed a proposed dwelling of 232 square meters. That's around 2,500 square feet. So that's just a floor plan, first floor, ground floor. I mean, you could have a two-story building easy, so lots of room still to do is. Planning staff, that's here, and also County Wellington staff are endorsing and supporting this and says this complies to the 4 tests. Again, happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Glenn, are there any registrants who requested to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there is none.
Please, would you please canvass the audience?
Anybody in the audience online who wishes to speak to the matter, they can use raise hand function located at bottom of the screen. I see none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anybody in the audience like to speak? No, good, thank you. Okay, let's go around the table, Paul,
No comments, thank you.
Tim,
Comments?
Nothing for me.
and I have no comments as well. Let's go through this process. In the matter of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended in the new comprehensive zoning bylaw 2023-2018 as amended, and an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a reduced lot area of 0.19 hectares for a reduced agricultural lot instead of 0.4 hectares as required. So it's, there's no conditions, so either we approve, oppose, or ask for deferral. Oh,
Approve.
Tim,
Approved.
Chris,
Approve.
and I approve as well, and it's subject to a 20-day appeal period. Okay, so let's go out of the hearing and go into the meeting.
Set report D13 2025-011 entitled minor variance application D13 BRE, severed parcel be received. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 11.4, table 11.3 of the Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw number 2018-023 as amended, requesting permission for reduction in minimum lot area of 0.19 hectares instead of the required minimum lot area of 0.4 hectares. And whereas this application is required as a condition of consent application B 97-24 that was approved in December 2024 at the Land Division Committee meeting, the consent application would sever a 0.19 hectare parcel of land with existing garage for rural residential use within the residential area. And whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. Now therefore, the committee approves the application with no conditions.
Hey, mover, Chris, second, all in favor? Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go back into the hearing for item 7.3, D13, GEI 4851 Town Line Road retained, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 11.4, table 11.3 to allow a reduced lot area of 0.26 hectares for retained parcel instead of 0.4 hectares as required. Requesting relief of a new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.24.2A to allow shipping containers on a lot with a minimum area of 0.26 hectares instead of 0.4 hectares as required. Requesting relief of the new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.24.2 B to allow 2 shipping containers on the retained parcel instead of none as required for a lot with an area of less than 4 hectares. Requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.24.2 D to permit storage of storage tanks on the retained parcel for residential use where outdoor storage is prohibited. And requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.24.2 B to permit a setback of 8.2 meters from residential use for shipping containers instead of 10 meters as required. Okay, Lynn, would you please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, public comments, and recommendations?
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met and the following comments are received. Townships, Public Works, Fire, and Bylaw departments all had no comments or concerns. Now, the building department asked if the applicant could provide pictures of the shipping containers in question, and I note that the pictures were provided by the applicant. Building's other comment is that shipping containers are attached to an existing structure. The building permit will be required for the shipping containers. Other than the above, the building department does not have any concerns with the minor variance application. Source Water stated that since this property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat, the application can be screened out and does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. They also noted that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to this property, given the vulnerable areas. And further stated that if the property is used for any activity other than rural residential, a risk management plan may be required. GRCA has advised that the information currently available at their office indicates the subject property contains floodplain, wetland, and the regulated allowance adjacent to those features. Due to the presence of the features, a portion of the property is regulated by the GRCA, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA. The MTO has advised that they have no objection to the minor variance application, and that the subject property is located outside of the MTO limits of permit control, and as such, no MTO permit approval or review is required. County Wellington Roads Department had no comments. The County Planning Department said that the subject lands are designated as Secretary of Agriculture and Port Greenlands in the county official plan. Identifying features include significant woodlands, provincially significant wetlands, as well as the Grand River Conservation Authority regulated wetlands, floodplain, and slope valley. Planning staff note that the proposed variance is to satisfy condition of severance B 143-22 that was conditionally approved at the February 2025 Land Division Committee meeting. And it is noted that the proposed permit the two existing shipping containers that are already located on the retained lands. Overall, staff do not have any concerns with the proposed minor variance application, provided that any concerns identified by the GRCA are addressed. And we had one public comment. And the comment states that this is to advise that we have no objections to the minor variance application at 4851 Town Line Road.
Thank you. So would you, the applicant please come forward? Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Audrey Geyer at 4851 Town Line Road, Cambridge. And I'm Jennifer Boss. I'm an urban planner working for Audrey. Fine.
Good, very good. So please make the presentation.
Sure. Well, I need my glasses. So as noted, the variances are required as a condition of consent, which was approved by the Land Division Committee on February 13th of this year. The first variance is in relation to the reduced lot area. And at the Land Division Committee, we were required to regularize the lot line because we had a different configuration at one point. That kind of followed the natural buffered area, and so they wanted us to square up the retained lot, which then resulted in the lot being undersized. Because the lot is undersized, it's 2.6 hectares versus the required 0.4 hectares. A hydrological study was required and peer reviewed by the township. And the peer review did confirm that both the retained and the severed parcels are fully serviceable with the undersized or the retained lot. Although it's can be adequately serviced, it will require an upgraded septic system for the retained lands. The severed lands will be able to have a regular septic and well. I guess this is, and then the second variances that are required for the retained parcel is to recognize the two existing shipping containers on the retained parcel. And a number of variances are required to allow for their continued use on the property. I would note that the containers have existed on the site for approximately 20 years with no complaints. The containers are screened, they're behind the existing garage, and they serve as functional storage for the existing residential use.
Great, so Lynn, are there any residents requested to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, they're not.
Hey, who would you please canvass the audience?
Sure. Anybody online attending this meeting who wish to speak to this matter, they can use raise hand function located at bottom of your screen. I see none.
Okay, and then you already have the written comment. And, so we'll go around the table. Paul,
I don't have any comments on this.
okay,
Not this time.
Rich,
What's in the shipping containers? What's in the garage shipping containers?
In
And I
the,
don't need the precise details, I just wanna know that,
in the shipping container?
yeah, what is it, like
It's-
general household stuff?
Yeah, it's like outdoor lawn furniture, bikes.
That's it for me, I think.
okay, so committee members, we're gonna be breaking up these, of four requests for relief. We'll do first the retained parcel. And then we'll do the shipping container issues. And, any comments or discussion before we proceed with the voting? No? Okay.
Reduced size, question even?
Anything on, of these, four?
Yeah,
five?
that's my comment would be around the shipping containers that. That if I understood staff analysis correctly, one shipping container would have been acceptable. Before the severance, and the severance is really creating the. Requirement that there be no shipping containers, did I read that right?
According to, through Mr. Chairman, according to zoning bylaw. As of now on the lot, no shipping container is. As, because it is not used for agricultural purpose
That's it, that's right, thank you.
and it is a residential use. Which the intent of the zoning is to not have a shipping container.
Yeah, my greatest hesitation is over the shipping containers, and I know we've got one public comment that says they're not. They're not a concern to them, but. Assuming north is up on that diagram, we're going to have a new house to the south and. That might become an issue. And the fact that it's been there for 20 years but not been compliant. Gives me concern.
I likewise share your comments and concerns regarding the shipping containers. Okay, so let's, what I'll do is I'll read all the five, requests, and then we'll start with the, first request. Okay, in the matter of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended and new zoning comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, and an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit the following. One, a reduced lot of 0.26 hectares for the retained parcel instead of 0.4 hectares as required. Two, shipping containers on a lot with a minimum area of 0.26 hectares instead of 0.4 hectares as required. Three, two shipping containers on the retained parcel instead of none as required for a lot with an area less than 0.4 hectares. Four, storage of shipping containers on the retained parcel for residential use where also storage is prohibited. Five, a setback of 8.2 meters for residential use for shipping containers is 10 meters instead of 10 meters as required. So now we will vote for variance number one, which is a reduced lot area of 0.26 hectares for retained parcel instead of 0.24 hectares as required. So either approved, denied, or deferred, and so that would be approved.
Approved.
And I approve as well. So now let's go into the variances 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're all to deal with these shipping containers. So again, we'll go around a table with approved, denied, deferred, or approved with conditions, and the conditions that are cited are that the variance 3 should be worded as follows: to permit a maximum 2 shipping containers a lot with a minimum area of 0.26 hectares to a maximum floor area of 14.4 meters squared. West Township, as the township comprehensive zoning bylaw 2018-23 as amended, section 4.24.2 B states the maximum shipping containers should be permitted for 4 hectares of a lot, area maximum of area 255 square meters. And two, that the applicant applies and receives building permit for existing shipping container attached to accessory building. 3, the accessory additional screening measures such as wood fencing is implemented satisfaction of township proposal shipping containers. I must make a correction instead of the floor area 14.4. My understanding it's 28.8. Lynn, is that correct? For the 2 shipping containers that are existing, right?
The floor.
28.8.
Yeah, so that's certainly the condition now. Okay, so with respect to the shipping containers for the 4 variances, so Paul,
Oppose.
Tim,
I oppose.
and I oppose as well. Okay, that's it for a subject to 20-day appeal period. Good. Done. Can you- Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Did not have it myself. Okay, so we'll go out of the meeting and then we'll leave the resolution for this item and we'll go back in after that.
That report B 13-2025-012 entitled minor variance application B 13 GEI retained parcel be received. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 11.4, table 11.3 of Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2018-023 as amended. Requesting permission for reduction in minimum lot area of 0.26 hectares instead of the required minimum lot area of 0.4 hectares. That's variance number 1. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 4.24.2A of the zoning bylaw, requesting permission to allow containers on a lot with a minimum area of 0.26 hectares instead of 0.4 hectares as required. That is variance number 2. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 4.24.2B of the zoning bylaw, requesting permission to allow maximum of 2 shipping containers on the retained parcel with a lot area of 0.26 hectares instead of a maximum 1 shipping container for 0.4 hectares on a lot area. That's variance number 3. Whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 4.24.2D of the zoning bylaw, requesting permission to allow shipping containers on the retained parcel, notwithstanding that outdoor storage area and outdoor storage use are not permitted on the retained parcel. That's variance number 4. And whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 4.24.2.f of the zoning bylaw, requesting permission to permit a distance of 8.2 meters between shipping containers and the neighboring residential lot to the north instead of 10 meters as required. That's variance number 5. And whereas this application is required as a condition of consent application B 14322 that was approved in February 2025 at the Land Division Committee meeting, consent application with sever 0.76 hectare parcel with an existing garage for rural residential use. And therefore be it resolved that the committee approves the requested variance number 1 with no condition, and that the committee denies variance on number 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the following reasons: that the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is not maintained in accordance with report D 13-2025-012. And in the opinion of the committee, the variances are not minor in nature in accordance with report D 13-2025-12.
Okay, move it. Paul, second by Kim, all in favor? Thank you. So we'll go back into the hearing to hear 7.4, D 13-GEI 4851, Town Line Road severed, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.16.1.8 to permit a reduced MDS 1 setback for the severed parcel to be 126 meters from the barn at the property municipally known as 6501 Roselle Road instead of 264 meters as required, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.16.1 to permit a reduced MDS 1 setback from severed parcel be 212 meters from the barn located south at part lot 1 of concession 3 fronting on Town Line Road instead of 390 meters as required. So Lynn, would you Please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outline staff, agency, public comments and recommendations.
Notice that the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met and the following comments were received. Township's Public Works, Fire Department, and Bylaw Department had no comments or concerns. Township's Building Department asked that the applicant provide pictures of the shipping containers, and pictures were provided. They further noted the shipping containers are attached to an existing structure. A building permit will be required for the shipping containers. Other than the above, the building department doesn't have any concerns with the minor variance application. Source Water said that since this property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat, the application can be screened out. It's not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. And noted that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to this property being in the vulnerable areas. GRCA said that information currently available to the office indicates that the subject property contains floodplain, wetland, and the regulated allowance adjacent to those features. Due to the presence of the features noted above, a portion of the property is regulated by the GRCA, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area would require prior written approval from the GRCA. It's understood the minor variance application requests relief from a number of provisions of the zoning bylaw to facilitate conditionally approved severance. GRCA staff previously reviewed application for consent B 143-22 for the proposed severance, and they don't have any concerns for them with the minor variance application. County planning stated that the subject lands are designated as secondary agriculture and core greenlands in the county official plan. Identifying features include significant woodlands, provincially significant wetlands, as well as Grand River Conservation Authority regulated wetlands, floodplain, and slope valley. MDS guideline number 43 states MDS 1 setback should not be reduced except in limited site-specific circumstances that meet the intent of the MDS document. And planning staff note that the proposed variance is to satisfy condition of severance B 143-22 that was conditionally approved at the February 2025 Land Division Committee meeting. It is noted that the proposed variance is to facilitate the construction of a residential dwelling on the severed parcel. Overall, planning staff have no concerns with the proposed minor variance, provided that the township is satisfied that this application is minor in nature and in conformity with the direction of provincial guidelines regarding MDS setbacks, and county roads had no comment.
Thank you. So would you please do your presentation?
So this is the second variance for the subject lands for the, specifically for the severed parcel, which does not comply with the MDS 1 setback. There are two barns in question. Barn A is located to the south, fronting of Town Line Road. And as noted, requires a setback of 390 meters, whereas the proposed setback is approximately 211 meters. And then barn B is located on fronting on Roselle Road, 6501 Roselle Road. And when I looked at the application for the minor variance for the MDS, the proposed severed lot is in a rural area that's categorized more by rural residential uses and agricultural uses on the township of Bushland side of Town Line Road. While small scale agricultural uses are present in the broader area, the prevailing land use in this on Roselle Road and in the immediate vicinity of the subject lands consists of rural residential lots. On the west side of Town Line Road, the lands are within the city of Cambridge and are predominantly urban residential in nature, all of which are located closer in proximity to the proposed severed parcel. Barn B, specifically on Town Line Road, directly abuts 11 rural residential lots to the west, fronting Town Line Road. And on the opposite of Town Line Road is bordered by the city of Cambridge. So the surrounding development pattern is fragmented and no longer accommodates large scale or intensive livestock operations. Both barns are not used for livestock purposes and would require major retrofits and upgrades to support any livestock operations. The barn located on Roselle Road is on a rural residential property and is not used for agricultural purposes. And it also lacks the land base or context needed to support livestock operations. Similar to barn B again, the barn is surrounded by a number of rural residential lots on both sides of Roswell Road, all of which are in closer proximity than the proposed severed lot. The cumulative development pattern in the area makes future use of both structures highly unlikely for livestock. Given the existing and planned land use context, the lack of livestock activity in either barn, the condition of the existing barns, and the presence of numerous existing rural residential uses in closer proximity to both barns than the proposed lot, compliance with the MD1 setback, in my opinion, is not warranted. The proposed variance will not impact the long-term viability of agriculture in the area and will not create new compatibility issues. It's my opinion that the variances are considered minor, maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan, and is desirable for the appropriate development of the lands.
Thank you. Miko, could you please put on the other drawing that shows the circus type of thing?
Sure.
Or I think it'd be good to see.
Give me a moment.
Page 77 of the package, or page 3 of of your report. Oh. So. Please go down.
Second. Mhm.
So that's what you were talking to with respect to the radii and the different homes. Do you want to speak to that, or are you okay with what you said?
I
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Good, fair enough. Okay, so Lynn, are there any registrants requested to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there are none.
And Miko, would you please canvass the audience and see if there's any people watching would like to speak?
Anybody online in the public who's like to speak to the matter, they can use the raise hand function located at bottom of your screen. I see none.
Okay, anyone in the audience? No, good, thank you. Okay, so let's turn to the committee members. Paul, any questions of the?
I have no questions on this. Thank you.
Kim?
no question.
Chris?
No, I take your point. These are more garages.
Okay, I don't have any comments or questions. Okay, so I'll read the actual wording and we can vote. No matter section 45 of the Planning Act as amended and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, an application for a minor variance requesting relief to permit the following. One, a reduced MDS1 setback for the severed parcel be 126 meters from the barn located at the property municipally known as 6501 Roselle Road instead of 264 meters as required. Two, a reduced MDS1 setback from the severed parcel be 211 meters from the barn located south at part lot 1 of concession 3 fronting on Town Line Road instead of 390 meters as required. Okay, Paul.
Approved.
Kim. Rich.
Approved.
And I approve as well. Okay. I'll be subject to 20-day appeal period. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go out of the hearing and Lynn, would you please read the resolution?
That report B 13-2025-013 entitled minor variance application B 13-GEI be received. And whereas the minor variance requested would provide relief from section 4.16.1.a Township Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2018-023 as amended to propose a new residential parcel along Wellington Road 35 to permit a reduced MDS one setback of 211 meters instead of 390 meters as required from the unoccupied barn located south at part lot 1 of concession 3 fronting onto Town Line Road. Whereas the variance requested would provide relief from section 4.16.1.a of the zoning bylaw requesting permission to permit a reduced MDS one setback for the severed parcel to be 126 meters instead of 264 meters as required from the barn located at the property municipally known as 6501 Roselle Road. And whereas this application is required as a condition of consent application B 143-22, it was approved in February 2025 at the Land Division Committee meeting. The consent application would sever a 0.76 hectare vacant land parcel. And whereas the minor variance application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. Therefore, planning staff consider the request to be minor and that the committee approves the application with no conditions.
Okay, move it. Chris, second Paul, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, no new business, Lynn, would you please read the, resolution for the adjournment?
That the committee have just been hereby adjourns at 7:46 p.m.
Okay, move it. Paul, second by Kim, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, so, we'll get into the, next meeting. Hey, good evening. Welcome to the Planning Development Committee meeting for June the 10th, virtual and in person. And we'll note that there are 4 consents with the advisory committee will provide comments on. And we'll start with the roll call. Paul Sedra, President. Tim McCarthy. Amanda Knight. Not here, and Chris Picard.
Present.
Councilor Johnson Poulos present as well. Okay, so to my right is Lynn Banks, the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee, and to her right is Nicholas Apawala, who's the junior planner for the township. Okay, so we'll start with the moment of reflection. Thank you. Okay, Lynn, confirmation of the agenda.
That the committee approves the June 10th, 2025 PDEC agenda as circulated and that the committee approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Consent item 7.2 questions received from the committee members seeking additional information and the corresponding responses provided by staff regarding the June 10th, 2025 Planning and Development Advisory Committee agenda.
Okay, a mover and seconder. By Kim, second by Paul, all in favor? Two. Hey, disclosure, conflict of interest? None. Okay, thank you. Lynn, would you please read the consent agenda?
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee approves the minutes from the meeting held on May 13th, 2025.
Hey, mover. Chris, second, Kim, all in favor? Thank you. Right, so there's no delegations, no general interest items, no notice of public meetings, and we'll move into the reports. Land division. Well, before we start that, I should note that the meeting is video and audio recorded and all persons and in person. Electronic means are uploaded to municipalities' YouTube page by registering to participate in the meeting. By electronic means, you're consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Okay, so I'll read the first one, and you can put up the appropriate drawing, Nicole, would be great. Report number 9.1, 9.11, B16-25, SCR, Scribner, Rosemary, and White, 4438 Boston Road South, Councilor Bushman's proposed southern says 38.1 hectares with 599.26 meter frontage, existing agricultural national habitat with barn for proposed conservation. Retained parcel is 8.32 hectares with 378 meter frontage, existing proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling, garage, and workshop. So, then, with respect to, I guess we'll go to the applicant. Would the applicant please come forward? Reverse of it.
Good evening, everyone. This is version 2.0 of this application.
So would you please state your name and?
My name is Tom Woodcock. I'm a planning ecologist for Rare Charitable Research Reserve, and I'm also acting as the agent for Wythe and Rosemary Scrivener, who wish to sever ecologically valuable land from their property and donate it to the organization where I work for protection in perpetuity.
Thank you. So go ahead.
So this very similar proposal has been in front of this committee before, last year when the Scriveners first were interested in getting this severance. And since that time, toward the end of the process last time, there was discussion about changes to the rules around rural severances. The Scriveners obtained a rural severance in 2010, which is indicated as number 3 up there. It's actually part 1 on a different plan, but number 3 on this plan. And that 2-acre approximate residential lot is currently unoccupied, but remains in their name and unsold. So when the discussion came about that perhaps additional residential severances would be allowed, they wish to reduce the amount of land, excuse me, donated by 2 acres so that they could perhaps have an additional residential lot severed at some point in the future from their retained lot that they currently live on. So the line, if I can stand up and point here. So the original severance line sort of followed this wetland boundary at the request of the GRCA. And now, in fact, the line has just been extended from this corner, so it forms a straight line across the back of these existing residences, the Scriveners' vacant residential lot that's already been severed in 2010. And they will hope to sever an additional 2-acre lot here at some point in the future. They understand that that is far from guaranteed under the current planning rules, but they would like to have that option. So they wish to reduce the severed area by 0.8 hectares, about 2 acres. So that is what happened. We had the new survey done. The Wellington County Planning Department indicated that that was too large of an adjustment to continue with the original application. So we had to withdraw the application that we submitted before and submit a brand new application based on this survey sketch.
Okay, okay, then would you advise us of any agency comments and read them out if they have them?
Certainly, the township's bylaw and public works department had no comments or concerns, and the township's building department had no building code concerns at this time.
Okay, and were there any registrants received to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there were none.
Okay, and again, if there's anybody in the audience, note that this will be going to the Land Division Committee. Do you have a date, Carolyn?
Don't write off hand.
July 17th.
July 17th.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if you have any comments or concerns, please come to the Land Division Committee meeting at the county and make your deputation. Okay, so let's go around the table. Paul, questions, comments?
I don't have any questions.
Kim? Chris?
No, nothing for me. Thank you.
And I don't have any either. So Lynn, would you please read the resolution?
That the committee supports severance application B 16-25, subject to the following conditions. That the owner satisfy all the requirements of township proposal, financial and otherwise, including but not limited to taxes paid in full and consent review and condition clearance fee and safe access clearance fee. And any which the township proposal may deem to be necessary at the time of issuance of the certificate of consent for the proper and orderly development of the subject land. Number 2, that the owner obtains zoning compliance for the proposed severed parcel, and that zoning compliance for the proposed retained parcel can be demonstrated to the satisfaction of the township. And 3, that any fees incurred by the township for the review of this application will be the responsibility of the applicant.
Okay, thank you. So we have a mover. Oh, second by Kim, all in favor? Thank you. So we're done.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Regarding the safe access, there is no frontage to the severed parcel on Watson Road South anymore. So
Well, I think you should discuss that with township staff.
Okay.
We're basically dealing with your application itself.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so, then we'll move into, next one, 9.1.2, B 17-25, CUM Cummings Estelle Estate of 4800 Pioneer Trail, Township Boston's proposed substance is 0.809 hectares with 60.6 meter frontage, existing vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel is 23.4 hectares with 108.26 frontage, existing vacant land for proposed rural residential use. So is the applicant here to make the presentation? Come on up.
I didn't realize I had to actually make an presentation.
I see all of it. Just state your name and address and then,
My name is Bridget Cummings. I'm at 4832 Pioneer Trail in Coast Lynch.
okay.
Brandon just told me that maybe the 2 acres would, could only be 1 acre, so I'm just here to. see what we
Okay,
can do.
can you just basically talk to what you're proposing there, the presentation? The lot there,
Yeah, so
number
believe
one.
it's. That's
Yeah,
number
at the
one.
top where it says one with a circle
Oh, you
around it,
couldn't
yep.
find it? Okay, okay. Yeah, so it's just, this one right here off of the 55 acres, and it's not gonna touch any of the, natural environment, and it just backs onto forest here, and then there's. Am I? Oh, sorry, it backs onto forest here. This is natural environment, so it won't be part of that. And, it's just a big vacant lot, so we're hoping to get a 2 acre, residential lot there. It's rural residential.
Okay, so let's, ask Lynn if there's any, comments from the first agencies.
So the township's bylaw department, public works and building departments all had no concerns or comments.
Okay. How about GRCA, did they say anything?
We did not get comments from the GRCA.
Okay, Paul, question.
I'm just looking at the like the greenlands in the back, so I'm just wondering if that's, if there's like I don't see a wetland feature or a setback or anything like that on this, so I guess just an observation at this point. So,
So the 2 acres that we have, it doesn't touch any of the natural environment. It doesn't go to the river. The other piece does, like the original
right,
55.
but is there not a, through the chair, like there's a setback 30 meters required? I just,
There is.
so I don't see that,
From
I
any
don't, that's
natural
what I mean,
environment.
so I don't see that here unless I'm not looking at it correctly. So that's something just to note, I guess.
If I may,
Go ahead.
so when you see Greenland OP and Nature Environment Zone listed on just right below the second number.
Yeah,
So that's where, when you see dotted line, that's where the any zone is.
okay,
So
so that the gap between that dotted line and then the lot line is
it's more than a
setback.
60 plus or minus.
okay,
Whereas the Greenland OP you see where it touches,
Yeah, yeah.
it's in a zoning bylaw, it's a EP overlay.
mhm,
And we don't have any setback requirement for EP overlay, environmental protection overlay.
okay. That was my only comment.
Yes.
Jim,
Nothing for me, thank you.
okay, there's a dry water course through there. The, designated by the sort of, trail with the hatch.
Okay.
That's, you're not allowed to build anywhere on it, so my question to you is, why can't the sevens be further to the right of the page to eliminate a water course issue? And make the lot, smaller?
You said move to the right, so south,
Yes,
so that would make it larger.
no, you would move you'd have you would have a severance from, where you have it in the middle, in the middle of 60 meters, that would be your north lot line, and you move it over. it will not abut the adjacent property, there'll be a gap in there, and, you'd be moving it further to the south.
So the gap would just maintain the original parcel? Is that,
Should I go up?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
sorry,
No worries.
So just to, okay, you put that, so you put basically chairs recommending to shift.
Yeah.
Right, shift it to here, to this red,
Or somewhere in there type of thing,
so that
because,
this would still remain as is, you would shift it to the right.
Oh.
You would just, this would be your use, this would be
yeah,
that.
but that has the greenlands, I guess, you get it, anymore, is that correct?
well, the topography is not very good there. It actually is quite a steep
Right.
hill. And then the area that we chose is quite flat. Like it goes up.
Well, you know, can you just shift it to? No, shift it
To the
to,
road.
keep going to the north, right there. Shift it like that,
So then the original land would have almost a U.
yes,
And with the original land, we would be able to have a home, for example, built here. So we just have a long driveway.
well, the red would be your new lot line.
But we were hoping to have two lots there. And I'm not saying that the original one would be for a residence, but we would.
Oh, I see
That it
what
would
you're
be.
saying. Okay, so you're saying you wanna proceed with what you're proposing.
Ideally,
Any comments?
My take would be as long as the applicant knows that dry water course might be an impediment to building in the future.
we could build, we just have to be a certain distance away from it.
I can't offer you guidance on that, but if the
Okay.
chair's comment that the water course could be an issue for you.
And Lynn, based on the fact that there's a water course, we're adding a condition and, Nick, can you read that to the applicant as well, so they're aware of it?
Certainly, that the township's consultants be satisfied that the severance will not impact the dry water course, including but not limited to additional studies such as an environmental impact assessment to the satisfaction of the township. So basically, when they look at it, if they decide that they're concerned about the water course, they may ask you to get an environmental impact assessment. You would do that, provide it to the township. We would have one of our ecologists peer review it
Okay.
to make sure that it's protected when the property is developed.
Okay, so, Lynn, would you please read the resolution?
That the Township Coastal Planning and Development Advisory Committee recommends approval of the application, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the owner satisfy all the requirements of the Township of Coastlands, financial and otherwise, including but not limited to taxes paid in full and consent review and condition clearance fee and safe access clearance fee. Number two, that the owner obtained zoning compliance for the proposed severed parcel, and that zoning compliance be demonstrated for the proposed retained parcel included but limited to item 2.1 to be demonstrated to the satisfaction of the township. Item 2.1 is to apply for and receive approval of a minor variance for the retained parcel for the reduced lot frontage. Number three, that any fees incurred by the township of Coastlands for the review of this application will be the responsibility of the applicant. Number four, that the township's consultants be satisfied that the severance will not impact the dry water course, including but not limited to additional studies such as an environmental impact assessment to the satisfaction of the township. Number five, that the applicant provides a pre-development site plan to the satisfaction of the township denoting the existing, if applicable, and proposed driveway, buildings, well, and on-site septic field locations to ensure the site will accommodate development of a single dwelling residence. The building department will require you to provide dimensions to illustrate compliance with the setback requirements. And number six, that any concerns from the GRCA are
Thank you, son. Mover, first, second, Kim, all in favor?
great.
Okay. We'll go on to the next one. Okay, 9.1.3, B 19-25, WHI, White Wolf Property Management, Inc., 85/95/101 Rock Road South, Township of Coastlands, proposed surface is 4.6 hectares with 196 meter frontage existing and proposed residential use with existing dwelling. Contained parcel is 41.6 hectares with 45-meter frontage, existing proposed industrial uses with the existing industrial building. Hey, Jeff, come on up.
Thank you. Members of me, I'm Jeff Beesman from Van Hart Surveying. I'm wondering if you could throw on the drawing here. There we go. I think most of you will know this property, the former Nestle site. And the proposal is to, really separate the house that's at the front from the rest of the industrial property. It's a big property. The other thing that happened in here, is that, it's not presented well, but there were, this was actually several parcels, separate pins, but they all merged. They all merged on title. So really, there were 3 pins here and the parcel here. At some point in time, they all merged on title. So, the houses that was at 85 has been removed. So in this case, we're just asking to really separate the house from the rest of the industrial property. We took a look at options of how to divide it. And our suggestion was here because the wetland limit is this wiggly line here. Like this. And we figured that was a good spot for the edge of the severance. And because then it was closer to the, if you look at the official plan maps and so on, the urban boundary is this line here. Okay, it's a heavy line, and we felt like this is really sort of meant to be part of the village of Aberfoyle, the hamlet of Aberfoyle, and this is meant to be outside. And so that was kind of why we wanted to go for the bigger one. Prior to merger, this parcel did follow this line. Okay, but we thought, no, it probably makes more sense that the whole wetland feature stay with the retained parcel. We gave some consideration to in this area, but we felt like it didn't make sense to have this wetland stay with this, because then it'd be this funny, maybe even 2 meters wide thing here. And the fact is that this wetland pocket already crosses this property line. The most important fact one of the important facts for this whole thing is that the house exists. This is not going to be any construction. We're not building anything. Main thing is that the owners of this property want to split the 2 assets so they can sell them as independent things that exist today. When I looked at the conditions, maybe Mahal, you could help me out on this one. Is you threw in the condition for zoning compliance. I didn't see any zoning compliance issues, at least in terms of usage, size of property, frontage, or anything like that. So I don't know is there a specific thing that we need to worry ourselves about for zoning compliance, or was that just thrown in as just, and we'll address it later? Do you know what I'm asking on that question?
Through Mr. Chairman, it is more of a standard condition
Okay,
than any concern related to other stuff. It is
So-
more of a standard condition.
so then if there are no zoning issues later on at clearance of condition time, we just ask you to clear that condition because there's
And
nothing.
demonstrate there is no.
And zoning is not, okay.
Yes,
That makes sense. The other condition that you put in, I realize it's become a new standard condition, and I think for Post Lunch, it's a great condition for all the new rural residential severances that I see. But the pre-development site plan, I'm suggesting we remove that condition, because we're not changing anything. Like this condition is meant for when we build something. And in this case, we're not building anything. So my kind request is to remove the pre-development site plan, because I mean, if I think about it, what it would be asking us to do is to,
Jeff, I don't think there's any harm in leaving it in, that can be taken out at a later date. It's a standard condition.
okay, if we want to do it that way, I just wanted to
Fine.
make it practical. That's all.
Okay, fair enough, okay. Lynn, comments from various agencies?
The township's building department, public works department, and bylaw on no concern or comments, and source water. said that a section 59 notice and risk assessment plan are not required for this proposal. If the nature of the development changes, notices may apply and risk management plan may be required.
Okay. Right, let's go around the table.
No comments.
No comments, no concerns. Thank you.
It's a general question. So this entire lot would be put on the open market to be purchased by somebody? Is that the intent?
That's it. I think there's a for sale sign now for the house already.
There is.
There's a for sale sign.
So this
And-
will be, the entire lot will be for sale then?
Yeah, or rent, like if they got a tenant for the industrial building. Like, there's two properties involved. There'll be two
Yeah, no,
properties.
I'm talking about the lands to be severed.
Oh, yeah, the intention is to sell it.
Of the 4.6 hectares. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, Glenn, would you please read the resolution?
That the committee supports Severance application B 1925, subject to the following conditions. The owner satisfied the requirements of town finance and otherwise, including but not limited to taxes paid in full and consent to the condition clearance fee and safe access clearance fee. Two, that the owner obtains zoning compliance for the proposed severed parcel and that the zoning compliance for the proposed retained parcel can be demonstrated to the satisfaction of the township. Three, that any fees incurred by the township for the review of this application will be the responsibility of the applicant. Four, that the applicant provides a pre-development site plan to the satisfaction of the township of Portland, denoting the existing, applicable, and proposed driveway, buildings, well, and on-site septic field locations to ensure the site will accommodate development of a single dwelling residence, and to provide dimensions to illustrate compliance with setback requirements. And five, that the owner provide documentation that the four existing monitoring wells on the severed property have been included in a monitoring program, or provide documentation that they've been decommissioned according to OREG 903 standards to the satisfaction of the township's risk management official.
Hey, move it. Well, second by Kim, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move into the next one, 9.1.4, B 20-25, VRI, Richmond, Tyler, 6848, Lincoln Road 34, Township Listings, proposed severance is 0.4 hectares with 46-meter frontage, existing vacant lot for proposed rural residential use, retained parcel is 9.4 hectares with 25-meter frontage, existing proposed agricultural use for the existing dwelling. Please.
Sure, thank you, committee. As you know, I do a lot of severances, have done many severances post-lunch over time. And normally we prepare the severance sketch and I visit the property and kind of evaluate it for a common sense perspective. Is this gonna work for physicalness, logical configuration, safe entrance, that kind of thing? This one here, we struggled with a fair bit, and I pushed upon the clients to say, I think this one, we need to go a little further in our analysis than a typical lot and dig deeper to understand that this is gonna work. Because there's quite a bit of grade at this property. There's a pond in the back and then we have the driveway and so on. So we took the extra investment and costs, the client did, so we completed a topographic survey of the property and which you see on the screen. And we designed the location for the house, the location for the driveway. We did a bit of a septic analysis in terms of soil samples were taken and a preliminary septic design was completed on this property to give us, the people who are gonna build this eventually, then the confidence. I want to have them have the confidence of knowing what they can do with this property, what kind of house it will be, how will it be set up. And I'm pleased that we were able to come up with a configuration that works. You can see we got that house there. It's a bit of if you've been to the property, it's a bit on the plateau, if you will, at the top. You can see that the driveway is somewhat parallel with the driveway of the one on the retained, okay? We have figured out some percentage slopes to get there. This tree row that's there now is gonna stay the way it is. You can see we did test soils down here and another spot at the property. And you can see where the dwelling, we've got a proposed dwelling, it's a bit hypothetical yet, like house plans haven't been finalized, but it is a reasonable size of what we're expecting for that house. I need to just figure out The math on that, cause it doesn't say how many square meters that house is gonna be.
So it's 195 on the drawing we got.
Okay, so 14.8 times 11.9. Yeah, this is 176 square meters. Okay, so, I mean, it's a good size. Again, it can be 2 floors. So we know it's gonna work. That's the important part. The intended purchasers are the children of the person who lives on the retained parcel.
Okay,
Any questions?
okay, Lynn, would you please, provide any agency comments?
On the township's bylaw, like works and building departments all had no comments or concerns.
Okay,
No comments.
Kim,
No, no comments, no concerns. Thank you.
the only concern I've got is the grade. You got a 9% grade in there and, one of the conditions we're putting in there is that, our fire department has to be satisfied with that grade.
Okay.
It's 9% is pretty steep.
It is quite steep. We did talk about it today I did talk about it with my engineering staff today. And we feel like we can do a few things to improve the grade. It'd be a little bit of a switchback kind of idea, like the driveway winding a little bit more. Don't want to put too many winds in it, but that would help on the grade.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Lynn, could you please read the, resolution?
That the committee's for severance application B 19-25, subject to the following conditions. One, that the owner satisfy all the requirements of the township of Portland, financial and otherwise included but not limited to taxes paid in full and consent review and condition clearance fee and safe access clearance fee. Two, that the owner obtain zoning compliance for the proposed severed parcel and demonstrate proposed zoning compliance for the retained parcel. Three, that any fees incurred by the township for the review of this application will be the responsibility of the applicant. Four, that the township fire department is satisfied with the final proposed slope of the driveway. And five, that the applicant provides a pre-development site plan to the satisfaction of the township denoting the existing applicable and the proposed driveway buildings, well, and on-site septic field locations to ensure the site will accommodate development of a single dwelling residence and also provide dimensions to illustrate compliance with setback requirements.
Big mover. Paul, second by Chris, all in favor? Thank you. Okay,
Great. Thanks.
all right, continue on. We are 9.2, there are no zoning bylaw amendments. 9.3, staff reports. 9.31, PDAC memo 2025-002 OCOA conference. Okay, Chris,
So I gave you a fairly long memo, sorry.
it is, yeah.
Some days. And attached the slide decks that were made available to me at the conference. I won't go through I'll answer any questions, of course, that you have on the material I provided to the extent that I can. Just talk about the recommendations. I personally thought it was a really worthwhile use of my time. I was there on the second day. Paul Satter was there the first day, but it was a really, I found it a really good use of my time. Bit of a long day, but that's okay. A number of topics were discussed there. I went to the ones that I thought were applicable would be of the most value to this committee. So we got to the end of the day where it was more around general planning, which was at Hamilton, which was interesting, but not necessarily relevant to what we're doing. So the recommendations are that, of course, we received the report for information, and that we ask staff to request a quote to provide annual training on amendments to the Planning Act. There was a lot of discussion around the rate of change, the number of changes that the provincial government is making to the Planning Act and the related policies, and the struggles people are having to keep up and stay current, and to apply it to the applications that they are receiving. Then we look at a training session for this committee on the regulation that governs minor variance applications. I will say I was mildly surprised that there is such a regulation, but they were very clear that it really does matter. And it would be good to know for us how our work is affected by the changes in planning act or planning policy. And I'm trying to make us into professional planners. That's not the point. But if our influence is on the work that we do, then it would be good to be current, and not therefore suffer a challenge should something go to Ontario Land Tribunal. And that we should do this again next year. It's in Ottawa, so it's more expensive, whether it's staff or committee members, but it was a worthwhile use of my day.
Okay. We'll ask for questions and comments. Oh,
No, there's a lot of detail in there, thank you, Chris.
hey, Chris, you're suggesting a quote from the township's planning consultant to provide annual training to this committee members?
Yes,
Okay,
and whether it's annual or, I know that we had Paul, what's his name, the lawyer, Aramasa organized. It was really useful. And there have been so many changes and continue to be changes that it might be of value to keep us doing what we need to do well.
okay, so perhaps we could, comment could be as anytime we get a new, we start with a new term of council, we bring that in, and if there's any major significant changes along the way that there's some sort of even a report be provided to us type of thing, saying, heads up, this is, it's gonna affect your minor variance applications.
Or, too bad Amanda's not here, we prevail on Aramasa or others to organize a kind of shared conference amongst a number of Wellington County municipalities, makes it more affordable to get that kind of update training, and we all get new members from time to time, and that education, I found it very, very helpful.
Okay, Michael, any comments? On what said, no? Okay, and then, the regulation, 200/96. Again, the same sort of vein. As a planning act, in other words, can they be, two of them be compliant?
Yeah.
No, okay, Lynn, do we need a resolution? I guess we do.
The, PDAC memo 2025-002 OCOA conference. We received from information that the subcommittee's recommendations be provided to council.
Okay, mover. Oh, second, Kim. All in favor? Great, thank you, good work. Okay, correspondence, none, new business, anybody have any new business?
My new business is that I submitted my summary and we'll go through it next meeting. I was speaking with Lynn on that,
Okay, great,
just to save some time.
great, sounds good. All right, Lynn, Chairman.
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee hereby adjourns at 8:23 PM.
Great, mover. All second by Richard, all in favor? All right, good stuff.